Good to see you, Bob.
Hey, Ryan, nice to see you, man.
Today's question is from Tom. Tom wants to know, what long-term chance do our springs and waters stand if we don't address population growth, since the U.S. is growing by 5,000 people a day and Florida is growing by about 900 people a day?
Tom has every right to be concerned, Ryan. UF is saying in the next 20 years, we're going to have 5 million more Floridians. That's about the current population of the state of Alabama. So just picture everybody from the state of Alabama moving down and camping in the state of Florida. It might be good for our football teams, but it's not really great for the environment. So you have more people. What does that mean? They're going to use more water. They're going to pump more water out of the aquifer. They're going to poop. That means more nitrogen and other pollutants that have to be dealt with, more human waste. And further, agriculture is growing, and agriculture is going to be much more significant, much more polluting in north central Florida in 20 years than it is today. Why is that? We have a lot of companies from California and other parts of the country that are moving in here. Land is cheap, water is free. Projections are maybe as much as 50% more agriculture in parts of the spring country. All that means more water being drawn and more fertilizer and human waste being applied. And while we do have programs to limit that, if we're going to increase human use by 25%, that's 5 million people, is about 25% over the next 20 years. We may have programs that do a fabulous job of bringing our use down by 25%. What does that mean? We go up by 25%, we come down by 25%, we're right where we started 20 years from now. We don't want to be where we started. We want to be better than that. This was a big issue in our legal challenges to the 5 Springs BMAPs, the Basin Management Action Plans, that are the state plans for cleaning up the springs. There's a provision in Florida law, goes back decades, that says when the state writes these cleanup plans, they have to account for future growth. Our state agencies essentially ignored the impact of future growth on the springs. They just didn't deal with it in these plans. It was one of the major issues we argued when we sued on these plans. And it's pretty clear why, in this case, the Department of Environmental Protection just ignored this requirement in law. It would be difficult to deal with it, politically difficult. They would antagonize various important interest groups. So they chose to ignore it, and their position, which was completely ridiculous, their position was, we don't have to deal with growth until we see it. Even though it's pretty predictable, and we have very reputable state agencies projecting what growth's going to be in both agriculture and population. When we went to the court challenge, the DEP lawyers said, no, we didn't actually have to deal with that. We'll wait until we actually see growth. We know growth's coming. It was really cowardly, I think, of the state to take that position. But that's the position they took in the BMAPs. And we'll see how the judge comes out on that and other issues in the BMAP challenge.
And what are the odds of the state successfully managing that growth if they wait until they see it to deal with it?
Every second that ticks away on the clock makes it more and more difficult. We talked about the fact that population and ag are growing significantly. We got to get a handle on these problems now, or we're never going to get a handle on them.
Thanks a lot, Bob.